The most powerful kind of attraction is the one that makes no sound. It doesn't need words. It doesn't need effort. It simply exists, quiet but undeniable. The kind that turns heads without trying, that fills a room without speaking, that makes people feel your presence before they even see you. That's what How to Be Silently Attractive reveals. The truth that real magnetism isn't built on performance, but on presence. Because the harder you try to be noticed, the more invisible you become. The more you chase validation, the further it slips away. But when you stop seeking attention, when you stand still, calm, certain, something inside you begins to shift. People start to sense it. They can't explain why, but they feel drawn to you. Not because of what you do, but because of what you carry. The quiet confidence that says, I am enough. Most people are taught to impress, to talk more, show more, prove more. Yet the most captivating individuals live by the opposite rule. They understand that stillness is strength, that mystery is not about hiding, but about knowing what doesn't need to be shown. That confidence isn't noise, it's composure. While others rush to be seen, the silently attractive person moves with patience, grounded in energy that feels unshakable. Every chapter of How to Be Silently Attractive is built around this invisible power. The science, psychology, and soul of effortless allure. You'll see why silence, self-awareness, and emotional depth create the kind of pull that no appearance or technique ever could. You'll learn how to stop performing and start radiating. How to shift from proving to simply being. And this isn't about pretending to be calm. It's about becoming calm. It's about unlearning the noise that dilutes your presence and reconnecting with the quiet that amplifies it. Because when you find that inner stillness, you no longer chase connection, you attract it. You no longer beg to be seen, you are felt. At Book Sounds Better You, we explore that inner transformation, not the tricks of attraction, but the truth of it. The version of you that doesn't need to shout to be heard, doesn't need to act to be seen, and doesn't need to try to be loved. Because when you master the silence within, the world can't help but listen. In a quiet corner of the city, where the days all seem to blur into the same pattern of screens, meetings, and deadlines, lived a man named Adrian. He was 32, a product designer in a large firm, intelligent, reliable, and invisible. People liked him, but no one really noticed him. He had spent years learning how to fit in, studying body language hacks, mirroring techniques, lines to sound confident. And yet, for all his effort, he felt unseen. His words filled rooms, but his presence never did. Then one morning, during a company meeting, a new creative director arrived, a man named Luca, calm and unhurried. He didn't try to impress anyone. He simply stood still, spoke softly, and somehow the entire room tuned itself to his quiet frequency. His silence carried authority. His stillness drew attention. And for reasons Adrian couldn't explain, he felt it, that magnetic calm that made everyone lean closer without understanding why. That night, Adrian lay awake, realizing something he had never dared to admit. Attraction was never about doing more. It was about being more. It wasn't noise that made people listen. It was presence. And in that still, sleepless moment, he decided to find out what gave silence its power. Chapter 1. The Psychology of Silent Magnetism. The biggest mistake most people make when they try to become more attractive is that they focus on the wrong things entirely. They obsess over words, gestures, and strategies, convinced that if they just act the right way, people will finally see them. But silent magnetism begins much deeper than behavior. It lives in the nervous system, in the alignment between mind and body, in the unspoken energy that others can feel long before you speak. When you meet someone with genuine confidence and emotional steadiness, your brain recognizes it instantly. Primitive instincts light up. Your subconscious reads that calm as strength, safety, and competence. This reaction happens in milliseconds, far before logic gets a chance to analyze. Silent attraction works because it speaks directly to that ancient circuitry. Neuroscience explains this beautifully. Research from Harvard's Social, Cognitive, and Affective Neuroscience Lab shows that our brains constantly scan for subtle social cues, micro signals of trustworthiness, stability, and self-control. Mirror neurons pick up these cues and mimic them internally, letting us feel what others feel. When you're near someone whose body and energy are in harmony, your own body synchronizes. Their calm becomes your calm. That's why the most magnetic people rarely seem to try. Their posture carries ease without arrogance. Their breathing is steady, reflecting emotional regulation. Their gaze holds presence, not force, not intensity, but attention. Even the smallest movement feels deliberate, as though their mind and body speak one language. Dr. Albert Mehrabian's classic research revealed that only 7% of communication impact comes from words, while the remaining 93% is shaped by tone, rhythm, and body language. That means attraction has far less to do with what you say, and far more with how you exist while saying it. But most people misunderstand this. They copy what they see on the surface, straightening their back, deepening their voice, maintaining eye contact, without realizing that if the inside isn't congruent, the outside will always ring false. The human nervous system is a lie detector. It senses inconsistency before thought can translate it into words. Real silent attraction cannot be faked. It's the reflection of an inner order, a mind disciplined enough to stay composed and a heart mature enough to stay open. You can't mimic the calm of someone who has faced chaos and learned to breathe through it. You can't borrow the confidence of someone who has built competence brick by brick. You can't copy the ease of someone who actually cares. The practices you'll find in how to be silently attractive aren't tricks to perform. They're transformations to embody, habits that rewire the nervous system, sharpen awareness, and build a steady internal rhythm. Over time, these habits turn presence into language. They make you appear composed not because you try to, but because you are. Those who carry this kind of magnetism have simply spent years developing habits that signal authenticity. Emotional regulation under stress, comfort in stillness, genuine curiosity about others, and the quiet certainty of knowing their own worth. These aren't gifts, they're skills. And that's the beauty of this truth. Silent attraction is learnable. You don't need to be loud, extroverted, or born charismatic. You only need to align what you think, what you feel, and what you project until your energy speaks before you ever have to. Because when the inner noise fades, presence emerges. When your mind becomes calm, your body follows. And in that calm, people sense something rare, something words can't teach, but everyone can feel. That is the psychology of silent magnetism, the invisible language of authenticity, alignment, and quiet power. Under the soft glow of his desk lamp, Adrian sat still, the city outside breathing through distant car horns and the hush of passing rain. Weeks had passed since he first began experimenting with silence. The discipline of saying less, of breathing slower, of meeting people's eyes without retreating behind nervous words. It had started as an act of curiosity, but something deeper was changing now. The noise inside him, the constant self-correction, the invisible tension in his jaw, the mental rehearsing of what to say next, was beginning to quiet. One evening, during a late-night meeting, a colleague panicked over a client's last-minute rejection. Voices rose, energy scattered, everyone talking at once. Adrian felt the familiar pull to join the chaos, to fix, to speak, to prove his calm through action. But instead, he stayed anchored. He felt his feet press against the floor, the rhythm of his breath steadying like a metronome. He didn't interrupt. He listened. Slowly, others began to mirror his tone. The noise softened. Even the colleague who had been shouting finally exhaled and said, "I don't know why, but talking to you makes it easier to think." That was the first time Adrian truly felt what presence meant, not as a concept, but as an experience. Chapter 2. The Foundation of Presence and Energy Management. Before you learn any specific habits of attraction, you must first understand the foundation that holds them all together: presence and energy management. This is the invisible architecture of charisma, the current beneath every word, the pulse behind every interaction. No matter what you say or do, people respond to the state you carry. If that state is scattered, tense, or self-absorbed, they sense it and withdraw. If it's calm, grounded, and clear, they lean in without knowing why. Presence isn't about being loud or demanding space. It's about being fully here. Your attention aligned with the moment, your energy coherent, your mind quiet enough to actually see and feel what's in front of you. When you're present, your nervous system is regulated, your breath deep, your body language open. This state creates what neuroscientists call psychological safety, an unspoken sense of stability that others feel in your company. People relax around those who are genuinely present because they sense no threat, no hidden agenda, no emotional volatility. Most people live in fragments. Their bodies sit in one room while their minds replay a conversation from the past or imagine a problem from the future. Their energy flickers between anxiety and distraction, and everyone around them feels the static. True presence, on the other hand, feels like standing beside still water, quiet on the surface, powerful beneath. To cultivate it, you must first learn emotional regulation, the ability to remain steady when life pushes against you. Attractive people are not emotionless, they are emotionally regulated. They can feel deeply without being swept away. They don't let small inconveniences trigger chaos, nor do they borrow the moods of those around them. This steadiness signals maturity, reliability, and safety, qualities the human brain instinctively reads as high value. Regulation begins in the body. Emotions aren't just thoughts, they are full-body events, patterns of breath, posture, and muscle tone. Learning to notice the first physical signs of emotional tension allows you to respond before reactivity takes control. The simplest gateway is conscious breathing. Deep, slow breaths activate the parasympathetic nervous system, the mechanism of calm. Shallow, rapid breathing does the opposite, stirring stress and confusion. Those who naturally breathe from the diaphragm radiate calm alertness, that rare combination of peace and strength that draws others closer. The second foundation is attention control. Where your attention goes, your energy follows. When your focus is divided, your presence feels thin and disconnected. But when your attention is single-pointed, completely absorbed in the person or moment before you, you create connection effortlessly. People crave that kind of focus. In a distracted world, complete attention feels almost sacred. Practice this in conversation. Stop planning your next words. Listen with your entire body. Let your attention rest fully on the other person, not as a tactic, but as an act of presence. You'll notice their eyes soften, their tone deepen. They'll feel heard in a way that most people never do, and that is magnetism in its purest form. The third foundation is physical awareness. Your body constantly broadcasts your internal state, the angle of your shoulders, the tension in your jaw, the rhythm of your movement. Others read these signals unconsciously, deciding within seconds whether you feel safe to approach or better to avoid. When your body is tight or fidgeting, you radiate unease. When it's relaxed yet alert, you communicate confidence and warmth. Pay attention to chronic tension, the stiffness that builds in your neck or stomach without your noticing. These are physical residues of mental stress. Learn to release them through breath, movement, or stillness. As you do, your presence expands. Your posture straightens not out of effort, but out of ease. When emotional regulation, attention control, and physical awareness come together, they form what can be called grounded presence, the steady energy that makes people feel at peace in your company. You don't need to be perfect or perpetually calm. You only need to know how to return to center again and again. From this center, everything changes naturally. Your voice deepens, your movements slow and flow, your eye contact becomes steady and sincere. Even silence begins to carry weight. These shifts aren't performed, they are side effects of internal coherence. Without grounded presence, every technique feels like manipulation. With it, even the simplest gesture, a nod, a word, a pause, becomes magnetic. Because when you manage your energy, you manage how the world feels in your presence. The office had grown quieter in recent months, not because the work had slowed, but because Adrian had. He no longer filled every silence with words, no longer rushed to fill the air with explanations. He had learned to let quiet stretch, to allow others to speak, to give moments the dignity of space. And though he said less, people seemed to listen more. In meetings, colleagues began turning to him not because he spoke the most, but because when he finally did, it mattered. One afternoon, a tense discussion unfolded about a failing project. Frustration rippled across the room, voices overlapped, tones sharpened. Adrian leaned back in his chair, arms relaxed, eyes calm. He didn't interrupt. He didn't rush to fix anything. He simply listened, fully, deeply, without judgment. And as the noise began to tire itself out, someone said softly, "Maybe we should hear what Adrian thinks." That pause, that stillness, had changed the entire energy of the room. It was then he realized that silence, when intentional, is not emptiness, it's power. Chapter 3. Mastering the Art of Strategic Silence and Deep Listening. In a world where everyone competes to be heard, the one who masters strategic silence and deep listening becomes magnetic. This isn't about being quiet or passive. It's about wielding silence as a tool, an active, deliberate choice that transforms ordinary interactions into connection, influence, and respect. Strategic silence creates space, and space reveals truth. When you resist the impulse to fill every pause, you invite others to step forward, to think, to feel, to show themselves more fully than they ever could in a rapid exchange. Silence, used wisely, is generosity. It says, "You are safe to speak. I am not rushing you. I am here." Silence also signals confidence. The need to constantly talk often comes from anxiety, the subtle fear that if you stop, you'll disappear. But when you're comfortable with quiet, you project self-assurance. You tell the world, "I am enough," even in stillness. This kind of quiet confidence doesn't repel attention, it commands it. And when you finally do speak, your words carry weight, because contrast gives them power. A person who talks endlessly is soon tuned out. A person who listens deeply and speaks rarely becomes unforgettable. The psychology behind this is ancient but precise. When someone feels truly heard and understood, their brain releases oxytocin, the bonding chemical that builds trust and connection. It's not your words that make them feel close to you, it's your attention. Deep listening, not performance, builds attraction. Yet few people truly listen. Most listen to respond, not to understand. Their mind runs ahead, crafting replies, searching for meaning through the filter of their own experiences. Real listening is harder. It demands stillness. It's not passive. It's engaged awareness. To master deep listening, you must develop 3 internal skills: presence, attunement, and curiosity. Presence means your full attention belongs to the moment. No phone, no self-talk, just you and the person speaking. Eye contact steady, posture open, energy directed toward them, not yourself. This level of attention feels rare in our distracted world, and that rarity makes it deeply attractive. Attunement means listening beneath the words, to tone, pauses, emotions. You start to sense what the person feels more than what they say. Are they anxious, proud, ashamed, hopeful? When you can recognize and acknowledge the emotion beneath their story, they feel seen in a way few people ever experience. They don't remember your exact words. They remember how safe it felt to be honest near you. And curiosity, perhaps the most powerful of all. Curiosity without judgment transforms listening from analysis into empathy. You stop trying to be right and start trying to understand. You stop searching for your turn to speak and start searching for their truth. The mind that listens with genuine curiosity gives people permission to exist as they are. And that kind of acceptance is magnetic. Once these 3 skills integrate, reflective feedback becomes natural, the ability to gently mirror back what you've understood. It sounds like you felt overlooked when that happened. If I understand correctly, you're saying you wanted more acknowledgement. These small reflections show engagement and depth. They're not rehearsed techniques, but authentic bridges of understanding. Together, deep listening and strategic silence form what psychologists call conversational leadership, the ability to guide interaction not through dominance, but through presence. You don't need to talk more to lead. You need to make others feel safe enough to speak their truth. The person who asks thoughtful questions and allows silence to breathe often steers the entire conversation. Even more powerful is the ability to hold space without rushing to fix. Many people, driven by empathy or ego, respond to others' pain with quick solutions. But most people don't want to be fixed. They want to be heard. Sitting with someone's discomfort without dissolving it, that is true emotional maturity. It says, "I trust you to find your own way. I'm not here to solve you. I'm here to see you." This practice builds a depth of connection that few ever reach. It turns conversations into moments of healing, exchanges into understanding, and ordinary people into sources of calm strength. In groups, those who master silence and listening become natural leaders. They rarely speak the most, but when they do, others listen. Because they've been absorbing, seeing, understanding, synthesizing. Their words carry the gravity of observation, not noise. Their pauses give others room to think, and in that stillness, influence is born. To practice, start small. In casual conversations, resist the urge to fill every pause. Focus on understanding, not replying. Listen until the other person stops out of completion, not interruption. Ask questions that go deeper instead of wider. Notice how people open up when they sense genuine curiosity. Over time, you'll see a shift. Your relationships deepen, your words begin to matter more, and your presence grows heavier in the best possible way. People will begin to seek you out, not for your stories, but for your silence. Because in a noisy world, silence is rare, and what is rare is magnetic. The storm that had passed over the city that week seemed to mirror the one Adrian had weathered inside himself. Deadlines had piled up, clients had shifted expectations overnight, and one careless mistake in a product rollout had almost cost his team a major contract. A year ago, this kind of chaos would have unstrung him. He would have scrambled, over-explained, apologized too much, stayed awake all night rewriting presentations no one asked for. Now, sitting at his desk with the rain tapping softly on the window, he felt something different. Stillness. He wasn't detached. He was centered. He looked around the office and saw panic spreading in others' eyes, the quick tapping of keyboards, the shallow breathing. He inhaled slowly through his nose, letting the breath fall deep into his abdomen, exhaling through pursed lips. He spoke only when necessary, his tone even, his movements unhurried. Within minutes, the noise around him quieted. Someone whispered, "I don't know how he stays so calm." That was the moment he realized that calmness was not weakness. It was quiet command. Chapter 4. The Power of Calm, Confidence, and Emotional Stability. Calm confidence is perhaps the most universally attractive quality a person can possess, yet it's also one of the most misunderstood. It isn't loud, aggressive, or dominant. It isn't the absence of fear or doubt. It's the ability to hold your center when the world around you loses balance. It's emotional equilibrium made visible. Psychologically, calm confidence is born from emotional regulation and distress tolerance. The capacity to feel difficult emotions without letting them drive your behavior. Those who possess it can experience anxiety without becoming anxious in action, disappointment without collapsing into negativity, and uncertainty without freezing in place. This stability is magnetic because it signals something rare: maturity. From an evolutionary view, emotional steadiness marks someone as a reliable partner or leader, the kind of person others instinctively trust in crisis. Socially, it creates psychological safety. Personally, it generates authenticity, the feeling that you're standing on solid ground, not performing balance. Neuroscience reveals why this stability captivates us. Maintaining calm under pressure activates the prefrontal cortex, the brain's executive center, responsible for decision-making and emotional control. Its engagement signals intelligence and composure. When others sense that regulation in you, their own nervous systems begin to synchronize, their bodies relax. People with true calm confidence have learned the crucial distinction between feeling an emotion and being ruled by it. They don't suppress or deny what they feel. Suppression breeds eruption. Instead, they acknowledge emotion, study it, and choose their response deliberately. It's not detachment, it's mastery. This mastery begins with awareness of your emotional patterns. Everyone has triggers: the traffic that sparks irritation, the criticism that stirs defensiveness, the uncertainty that breeds control. The path to calm confidence is noticing those signals early before they hijack behavior. Psychologists call this metacognition, thinking about your thinking. It's the art of stepping back just far enough to observe yourself without judgment, like watching waves instead of drowning in them. Mindfulness is the foundation of that awareness. It doesn't mean permanent serenity. It means presence with what is. To notice your heart racing and say, "My body is anxious, but I am not my anxiety." That pause creates space between impulse and action, the birthplace of choice. Breathing is the most practical doorway. A slow, diaphragmatic breath sends a message to your body: we are safe. It activates the parasympathetic nervous system, shifting you from reaction to regulation. A few conscious breaths can reset an entire emotional state. Over time, calm becomes your default rhythm. Posture, too, shapes emotion. Studies from Harvard Business School show that open, grounded stances, shoulders back, spine long, lower cortisol and raise testosterone, changing chemistry itself. Confidence isn't only mental, it's embodied. The way you stand teaches your mind how to feel. Building calm confidence also means practicing stress inoculation, exposing yourself to manageable discomfort to strengthen resilience. You grow by walking deliberately into challenge, giving that presentation, having that hard conversation, entering the room that still intimidates you. Controlled stress expands tolerance, avoidance shrinks it. Like muscles built through resistance, emotional stability is built through steady confrontation with uncertainty. The dialogue you keep with yourself matters just as much. People with stable confidence cultivate self-compassion, the discipline of speaking kindly to themselves when they falter. This isn't indulgence, it's intelligence. Harsh self-talk drains energy, while self-understanding restores it. To say I made a mistake and I'm still learning is to remain functional when others crumble under shame. Calm confidence also grows from accepting uncertainty as a constant companion, not an enemy to eliminate. Most people exhaust themselves trying to control outcomes, rehearsing possibilities, predicting futures, grasping at guarantees. The quietly confident learn to live inside uncertainty. They act without knowing. They move forward without needing to see the entire map. Their steadiness doesn't come from certainty of results, but from trust in their ability to respond, whatever happens. This comfort with not knowing is profoundly attractive. It signals strength, emotional maturity, and self-trust. It tells the world, I may not control the storm, but I do control my sail. When emotional regulation, mindfulness, posture, stress tolerance, self-compassion, and comfort with uncertainty integrate, a transformation occurs. Your presence solidifies. Your voice deepens and slows. Your eyes meet others without strain. Your movements become fluid, your decisions cleaner, your communication honest and direct. None of these are performances. They are natural consequences of an ordered inner world. That is calm confidence, not a mask to wear, but a state to live from. A quiet power that steadies rooms, strengthens relationships, and draws people near without you needing to reach. The following week, Adrian found himself at a crowded industry networking event, the kind of space that once made him quietly panic. Conversations buzzed like overlapping frequencies, and people seemed to move in rehearsed patterns, smiling too wide, laughing too quickly, listening only to reload their next story. He used to be one of them. Tonight, he decided to do something different. He would not perform social confidence. He would observe it. He noticed the woman across the room whose laughter came half a second late, polite, not genuine. The young executive whose shoulders stiffened each time someone disagreed. The quiet older man whose eyes softened when others spoke. Calm, patient, curious. That was who Adrian approached. He didn't open with an impressive story. He simply asked a question and listened. 10 minutes later, the man said, "You're easy to talk to. Most people here are just waiting for their turn to speak." Adrian smiled. He wasn't there to impress anymore. He was there to connect. And connection, he realized, begins not in performance, but in perception. Chapter 5. Developing authentic social intelligence and emotional awareness. Social intelligence is the art of navigating human interaction with awareness, empathy, and authenticity. It isn't manipulation, nor is it charm. It's the ability to sense what's really happening beneath the surface of words, to understand people's emotional landscapes, and to respond in ways that create trust, comfort, and genuine connection. This quality radiates attraction because it signals emotional maturity. The quiet assurance that you know how to meet the world without forcing it to bend around you. At its core, social intelligence begins with emotional awareness. Awareness of yourself and of others. Most people drift through conversations with only surface-level attention, missing the subtle undercurrents flowing between emotions and words. They hear what's said, but not what's felt. They overlook small signs, the tightening of a jaw, the delay before a response, the shift in tone that reveals discomfort or curiosity. Every interaction carries 3 layers: the words, the feelings beneath them, and the relational dynamics weaving them together. People with developed social intelligence read all 3 simultaneously. They can talk about surface topics, deadlines, plans, or small talk, while staying aware of emotional subtext, tension, interest, insecurity, or warmth. The first step to emotional awareness is learning to recognize emotional states in others. This doesn't come from guessing, it comes from observing. Emotions reveal themselves through the body, micro-expressions that flash and fade before the face resets, postures that expand or shrink, the tone and tempo of a voice that rise when anxious or soften when relaxed. Most emotional communication is nonverbal. Learning to see it is learning to understand people beyond their words. You can practice this anywhere. Watch how people's energy shifts throughout a conversation. Notice the difference between genuine enthusiasm and polite performance, between real interest and habitual nodding. When someone's words say "I'm fine," but their eyes look elsewhere, trust the eyes. Awareness begins with attention. The second element of emotional awareness is recognizing your own emotional impact on others. Most people underestimate the energy they project. Anxiety spreads, so does calm. Some personalities overwhelm without realizing it. Others withdraw so much that people feel unwelcome. Developing this awareness requires honest reflection and feedback. Ask yourself, do people relax when they're with me, or do they tighten? Do they open up or retreat? This isn't about self-blame, it's about alignment. Understanding that your presence affects others whether you mean it to or not. When you're conscious of that impact, you can adjust your tone, pace, and energy to meet others where they are. This is empathy in action, not losing yourself, but tuning your frequency to harmony rather than noise. The third component is reading group dynamics. Every social setting carries its own invisible architecture, hierarchies, alliances, unspoken rules. The socially intelligent don't fight those structures. They recognize and navigate them gracefully. They know when to lead and when to listen, when to challenge and when to support. They sense which voices hold influence, and they use awareness, not ego, to move the conversation forward. At a deeper level lies cognitive empathy, the ability to understand what someone thinks or feels without absorbing their emotion as your own. Unlike emotional empathy, which feels with, cognitive empathy thinks with. It sees perspectives clearly without losing stability. This skill is essential in leadership, negotiation, and conflict, understanding another's truth while staying anchored in your own. Highly socially intelligent people also learn to adapt to different communication styles. Some prefer directness, others require gentleness. Some think fast and interrupt as a sign of engagement. Others need quiet space to process. Flexibility isn't manipulation, it's respect. Meeting people in the language they understand doesn't dilute authenticity, it amplifies connection. Of course, social intelligence also means handling imperfection gracefully. Everyone misspeaks, misreads cues, or stumbles into awkwardness. The difference is how you recover. People with emotional poise laugh softly at the mistake, clarify without defensiveness, and move on. Their composure diffuses tension. It's not the absence of error that earns trust, it's the presence of ease. Another layer of social intelligence is reciprocity. Emotionally mature individuals know that connection thrives on balance. They give value through attention, empathy, or support without keeping score. They understand that relationships aren't transactions, but exchanges of energy. To make others feel seen and valued without seeking return is one of the highest forms of attractiveness. When emotional awareness, empathy, adaptability, and self-understanding merge, you develop a rare presence, a person who listens, understands, and responds with genuine care. You don't need to dominate conversations or impress anyone. People feel at ease around you because your energy signals something deeper than charm, safety. And in the modern world, where attention is scarce and authenticity rarer still, that safety becomes irresistible. A few months after his quiet transformation began, Adrian noticed something unexpected. His confidence had started to live not only in his mind, but in his body. He walked differently now. It wasn't something he had practiced in front of a mirror or copied from someone online. It was something that emerged naturally, like a rhythm his body had known all along, but had forgotten how to play. When he entered a room, people seemed to notice, not because he demanded space, but because his presence filled it. One morning, as he stepped into a presentation that once would have tied his stomach in knots, he realized that his body was calm, his breath was slow, his movements were measured. He didn't fidget with his pen or cross his arms. He placed his notes down gently, looked around the room, and waited, not out of hesitation, but composure. And before he even spoke, he could feel it. People were already listening. That's when it clicked. Attraction wasn't only heard or felt, it was seen. It lived in the way he moved. Chapter 6. The Art of Purposeful Movement and Physical Presence. Your body is a language, one that speaks long before you open your mouth. Every gesture, posture, and step communicates something about who you are and how you feel. The way you move through space tells others whether you are centered or scattered, confident or uncertain, calm, or anxious. And though most people never realize it, their bodies are constantly broadcasting these signals. Physical presence isn't about acting. It's about awareness, learning to inhabit your body with purpose. Most people move unconsciously, driven by habit, tension, or distraction. They fidget, slouch, or rush, sending messages of restlessness and self-doubt. But those who learn to move intentionally project something entirely different: ease, control, and confidence that seems effortless. The science of embodied cognition reveals that your body doesn't just reflect your mind, it shapes it. When you change how you stand, breathe, or move, you send signals back to the brain that influence mood, focus, and emotion. Confident movement generates confident thought, and the cycle strengthens itself. A grounded body creates a grounded mind, and together, they create a presence people can feel. Purposeful movement has three defining qualities: intentionality, fluidity, and groundedness. Intentionality means moving with awareness. Every gesture, turn, or stillness carries a reason. Not rehearsed, but conscious. Nervous habits like tapping, crossing arms, or shifting weight break presence because they fragment energy. But when you move deliberately, even small actions, adjusting your sleeve, placing a cup down, communicate calm precision. Fluidity means motion that flows rather than jolts. Confident people don't move in abrupt bursts. Their actions follow a rhythm. This smoothness isn't mechanical. It's the physical expression of inner ease. It tells the world, I am not rushing to catch up. I am already where I need to be. Groundedness is the foundation of it all. Martial artists call it centering, awareness of your core, the invisible line that runs from breath to balance. When movement begins from your center, typically just below the navel, everything becomes more graceful. Your posture straightens, your gestures soften, your energy stabilizes. Most people carry chronic tension in their shoulders, neck, or jaw, invisible signals of strain. Learning to relax this unnecessary effort while maintaining alert posture transforms how others perceive you. It's not about being loose or stiff, it's about poised readiness, relaxed yet alive. Among all forms of physical communication, eye contact speaks loudest. Used well, it anchors connection. Used poorly, it creates discomfort. True eye contact isn't about staring. It's about being present. Look when listening. Break naturally when speaking or thinking. Return in a rhythm that feels organic. With close friends or loved ones, longer eye contact builds warmth. In professional or new settings, brief but sincere eye contact conveys respect without pressure. The key is authenticity, eyes that see, not eyes that perform. Gestures also reveal truth. Open palms, uncrossed arms, and relaxed shoulders express honesty and approachability. Hidden hands or closed positions suggest self-protection or discomfort. But again, authenticity matters more than choreography. Forced openness reads as insincerity. Natural ease is enough. Even your walk tells a story. Confident walking isn't fast or showy. It's balanced, steady, and aligned. The head is upright, shoulders back but not rigid, pace consistent and unhurried. People who rush communicate anxiety. Those who drag their steps project uncertainty. Walk with purpose, not to impress, but to express clarity of direction. When sitting, physical presence continues. Attractive posture means upright yet relaxed, feet grounded, shoulders open, attention forward. It's not military stiffness, nor casual collapse. It's calm engagement. You take up space appropriately, not shrinking into invisibility, nor sprawling into arrogance. The ability to gauge how much space to occupy and to adjust it respectfully depending on the context is a subtle form of social intelligence. True physical presence also includes awareness of others' comfort. Confidence that disregards others becomes intrusion. Presence that considers proximity, body language, and emotional boundaries becomes grace. Even your voice is part of your physical presence. It's produced through the body, breath, diaphragm, posture. When your body is relaxed and grounded, your voice resonates naturally, deeper, steadier, carrying authority without force. A rushed, shallow breath produces a tight, strained tone, but a slow, even breath grounds your speech and gives it rhythm. Attractive speech isn't loud, it's balanced, neither rushed nor dragging, but paced in a way that lets meaning breathe. Developing purposeful movement and physical presence requires mindful practice. Spend a few moments each day simply inhabiting your body. Notice how you stand, how you move, where tension hides. Try standing with your feet shoulder width apart, breathing deep into your center, and imagining your body rooting gently into the ground. That sense of stillness beneath you is the anchor of physical presence. Then practice in motion, walking, speaking, gesturing, until awareness becomes natural. Over time, your body learns to communicate the same truth as your words. Calm, confidence, authenticity. Because real physical presence isn't performance, it's coherence. The mind, the breath, and the body moving as one. When that alignment happens, you don't have to convince anyone you're confident. They'll see it and feel it before you ever speak. It was late in the evening when Adrian returned home from work, the kind of quiet hour that used to make him uneasy. The city outside his window shimmered with restless motion, but he felt something inside him that didn't move anymore, a steady calm that had taken months to build. He poured himself a cup of coffee, opened his laptop, and stared at the email that had once terrified him, an invitation to lead a company-wide design initiative. A year ago, he would have declined, telling himself he wasn't ready. Tonight, he smiled faintly. Not because he was fearless, but because he finally trusted himself to figure things out along the way. He had failed before, plenty of times. He had embarrassed himself in meetings, stumbled through presentations, lost clients. But those failures had stopped feeling like proof of inadequacy. They had become proof of progress. Each misstep was a lesson absorbed, a new piece of competence built quietly into his foundation. That's when he realized, real confidence wasn't loud, it was quiet, and it was earned. Chapter 7. Building unshakable inner confidence through competence. True confidence cannot be performed, borrowed, or faked. It grows from the inside out, from competence, self-awareness, and a history of meeting life head-on and surviving it. Real confidence doesn't need to shout because it's built on evidence. The psychology of confidence shows that it's not a fixed personality trait, but a dynamic state. The meeting point between what you can do, what you believe about yourself, and how you've handled challenges in the past. The people who exude effortless assurance are rarely the ones trying to appear confident. They are the ones who have earned the right to feel capable through years of consistent effort, learning, and resilience. At the root of confidence is competence. Becoming truly good at something, at anything that matters to you, creates an unshakable foundation. Whether that skill lies in your profession, your art, your relationships, or your ability to lead yourself, real competence builds certainty. It gives you something solid to stand on when the world shakes. Many try to build confidence through affirmations or positive thinking, whispering declarations into the mirror while their nervous system still remembers the truth. I don't actually know how to do this yet. The subconscious can't be tricked. It believes in action, not slogans. It learns through experience, not imagination. When your self-image aligns with real capability, confidence stops being a fantasy. It becomes a natural state. Building competence requires embracing what psychologists call productive discomfort, challenging yourself just enough to stretch without breaking. It's the discomfort of learning something new, failing publicly, or persisting when progress is invisible. It's the quiet courage of choosing growth over ease. Confident people have been through that process repeatedly. Each small victory, each recovered failure adds another layer of inner evidence. I can handle life. The next cornerstone is self-knowledge, knowing your strengths and weaknesses, your triggers and tendencies, your values and limits. When you understand who you are, criticism doesn't destabilize you, it informs you. Failure doesn't define you, it refines you. Self-knowledge creates internal clarity, and clarity breeds calm. This awareness grows through reflection and honest feedback. It requires facing yourself without defense or denial, admitting not only what you're good at, but what still needs work. Paradoxically, acknowledging weakness is what makes strength sustainable. Because pretending to be flawless builds fragile confidence, being grounded in reality builds unshakable confidence. With self-knowledge comes emotional resilience, the capacity to recover from difficulty without losing faith in yourself. Resilience doesn't mean never falling. It means falling and trusting your ability to rise. Every challenge you survive teaches your nervous system, I can endure this too. That memory becomes emotional armor, not the kind that hardens you, but the kind that steadies you. How you interpret failure defines whether you grow or shrink. Those with deep confidence see mistakes as information, not verdicts. They ask, "What can this teach me?" instead of "What's wrong with me?" This shift transforms failure into fertilizer, the uncomfortable soil from which competence grows. This mindset, what psychologist Carol Dweck calls the growth mindset, changes everything. It redefines effort as a path to mastery, not as proof of inadequacy. It reframes uncertainty as opportunity, and it keeps the mind in motion even when results are delayed. Building confidence also requires taking calculated risks, small leaps that expand your belief in what's possible. Each time you act despite discomfort, your identity evolves. You stop thinking, "I'm trying to be confident," and start realizing, "I am capable of more than I thought." Confidence grows not from comfort, but from confrontation with challenge. Handled, learned from, survived. Social confidence follows naturally. Once you trust your competence, you no longer perform for approval. You connect instead. You don't seek to impress, you seek to contribute. Real social ease comes from knowing you can offer value, that you can handle awkwardness, and that your worth isn't up for negotiation. The process of developing inner confidence is long, subtle, and personal. It demands patience and compassion. It doesn't mean eliminating self-doubt. It means moving forward even with it. Over time, as competence deepens and self-awareness sharpens, something shifts. Fear becomes information, not limitation. Setbacks become feedback, not failure. And from that foundation, confidence begins to live in your bones. Unshakable, silent, real. When you possess this kind of confidence, it shows. Your voice steadies, your body relaxes, your communication becomes honest, not performative. You take up space, not through dominance, but through quiet certainty. You no longer chase validation because you've already validated yourself through evidence and effort. That's the kind of confidence the world feels even before you speak. Not a performance, but a presence. That Saturday afternoon, Adrian met an old friend he hadn't seen in years. Someone who had known him back when his words rushed to fill every silence. They sat at a small cafe overlooking the city, and as the sunlight filtered through the window, his friend leaned forward, ready to speak, almost as if expecting the same old Adrian, the one who would jump in with advice or turn the topic toward his own struggles. But this time, Adrian didn't. He listened. He asked a question, then waited, long enough for his friend to go beyond the practiced answers people usually give. When his friend spoke about the loneliness of chasing success, about the quiet pressure of pretending everything was fine, Adrian didn't interrupt with comfort or comparison. He simply looked at him with that quiet steadiness he had learned to carry. By the time they stood to leave, his friend said softly, "You know, I didn't realize how much I needed to say that until someone actually wanted to hear it." As Adrian walked home, he realized something profound. The most magnetic people aren't the ones who speak beautifully. They're the ones who make others feel beautiful when they speak. Chapter 8. The magnetism of authentic curiosity and genuine interest in others. In a world where most people are consumed by their own thoughts, worries, and need to be understood, those who show authentic curiosity toward others become rare and magnetic. This kind of curiosity is not about asking questions to appear polite, nor is it about collecting information. It's about truly wanting to understand, to enter someone else's world with humility and fascination. Humans crave to be seen, to be heard, to feel that who they are matters. When someone listens with genuine interest, not to reply but to discover, it creates an almost sacred experience. People relax, open up, and come alive in the presence of those who are sincerely curious about them. That's why curiosity is so attractive. It makes people feel significant. Authentic curiosity begins with a shift in focus, from self to other. Instead of thinking about how you sound, how you're being perceived, or what you'll say next, you turn your attention completely toward the person in front of you. You listen not for your turn to speak, but for their chance to be understood. In that shift, the whole texture of connection changes. This curiosity must be genuine. People can feel the difference between obligation and fascination, between I'm asking because I should and I'm asking because I actually want to know. Authentic curiosity asks questions that explore depth, not just detail. Instead of, "What do you do?" it asks, "What led you there?" Instead of, "How was your day?" it wonders, "What was the most meaningful part of your day?" Curious people draw stories out of others, not by prying, but by inviting. Their questions create space, their attention gives permission, and their silence encourages truth. They aren't fishing for gossip or validation. They're searching for humanity. And that, being genuinely interested in the inner lives of others, is an act of emotional generosity. When you show someone you are interested in how they think and feel, you're offering them something the world rarely gives: reflection. You become a mirror through which they see their own life more clearly. That reflection is deeply validating. It makes them feel seen, valued, understood, and inevitably drawn to you. But authentic curiosity also requires awareness and restraint. It's not about asking every question that crosses your mind. It's about reading comfort levels, honoring boundaries, and sensing when to go deeper and when to stay gentle. True curiosity respects privacy as much as it seeks truth. It creates psychological safety, not pressure. Curious people tend to be great conversationalists, not because they talk much, but because they make others want to talk. They invite people to share their expertise, their memories, their lessons. They make others feel intelligent and interesting, not by pretending, but by paying attention. This attention, focused, patient, and without judgment, is one of the rarest forms of attraction. And here lies a deeper truth. Every person you meet holds a world of experience you know nothing about. Their choices, their pain, their triumphs, all shaped by moments you've never seen. Approaching others with curiosity means treating every conversation as a chance to learn something about the human condition. It expands not just your understanding of people, it expands your understanding of life. This openness is magnetic because it reveals intellectual humility. It says, I am still learning. And people are drawn to those who are still learning, those whose minds remain open, who engage with difference instead of fearing it. Authentic curiosity also thrives on silence. After asking a thoughtful question, resist the instinct to fill the pause. Let the other person think, breathe, and find their words. That space is where honesty lives. When people sense that you won't interrupt or judge, they go deeper. What follows are the kinds of conversations that stay with you long after they end. At its highest level, curiosity extends beyond individuals. It reaches into cultures, beliefs, and lives different from your own. It's the willingness to sit in uncertainty, to listen without agenda, to understand before evaluating. This global curiosity makes you not just more knowledgeable, but more human. When you cultivate authentic curiosity, something beautiful happens. People begin to seek your presence. They trust you, not because you're impressive, but because you're interested. They open up around you, not because you demand it, but because they feel safe to. They associate your presence with warmth, understanding, and the rare comfort of being seen as they are. In a world full of self-promotion, curiosity is humility. In a world full of noise, curiosity is quiet attention. And in a world full of masks, curiosity is the reminder that every face still has a story worth hearing. In the dim light of an evening train, Adrian caught his reflection in the window, not to adjust his tie or check his hair, but to observe something subtler. A few years ago, his reflection would have shown tension, shoulders slightly raised, jaw tight, eyes darting away when others looked too long. Tonight, his reflection looked different, calm, centered, present. Across from him sat a stranger, scrolling aimlessly on their phone. When Adrian looked up, their eyes met briefly, and instead of the usual flicker of awkwardness, there was stillness. Not a stare, but an unspoken, I see you. The stranger smiled faintly. He smiled back. No words. No performance, just energy, connection without sound. He realized then that he didn't need to speak to communicate anymore. His silence, his posture, his presence, they spoke for him. Chapter 9. Mastering nonverbal communication and subtle influence. Most of what you communicate to the world has nothing to do with words. It happens beneath the surface, in the small contractions of your face, in the rhythm of your breath, in the way your energy fills or withdraws from a space. Long before your conscious mind decides what to say, your body has already spoken, and everyone else's brain has already heard it. Within milliseconds of meeting you, people's nervous systems have scanned and categorized you. Confident or anxious, grounded or scattered, safe or uncertain. They don't think these judgments, they feel them. That's the power and the responsibility of nonverbal communication. People with magnetic presence rarely rely on clever words. They influence without force, attract without performance, and lead without asserting control. Their power lies in congruence, the invisible alignment between their internal world and external expression. When your mind, emotions, and intentions move in harmony, your body becomes a clear instrument. Every gesture, glance, and breath carries authenticity. But when you feel one thing and try to display another, when you smile to hide irritation, when you force ease while holding tension, people sense it. Not consciously, but viscerally. They feel that something doesn't fit, and their trust withdraws. The mastery of nonverbal influence begins not with learning gestures, but with cleaning your internal signal. A calm mind produces calm movement. Genuine warmth produces genuine facial expression. The body always tells the truth of the soul. Facial expressions are your first language. The micro-expressions that flash across your face reveal your emotions faster than speech can. Learning to notice these in others helps you understand them beyond their words, and becoming conscious of your own allows you to communicate clarity and warmth. The most magnetic expression is simple: relaxed awareness. When you listen, your eyes soften. When you smile, it reaches your eyes. When you're neutral, your face rests in ease, not in defense. The human brain can detect fake smiles within fractions of a second, not because it studies them, but because it feels the tension that isn't congruent with true emotion. A genuine smile doesn't only lift the corners of your lips, it engages the tiny muscles near your eyes, the real signal of kindness. Your voice is the bridge between thought and world. It reveals far more than words. Your emotional state, confidence, and intention are woven through tone, pitch, and rhythm. A relaxed, grounded body produces a voice that resonates deeply and effortlessly. It doesn't shout, it carries. It doesn't rush, it flows. Those who speak too fast reveal anxiety. Those who speak too slow reveal hesitation. The confident voice sits in the middle, measured, calm, certain. The power of a voice isn't only in sound, but in silence. Strategic pauses create space for meaning to settle. Silence between words tells the listener that you're not afraid to wait, that you trust your presence to hold attention without noise. Your posture is another language entirely. It declares to the world how you feel about yourself. Upright but not rigid, open but not exposed. This balance communicates quiet confidence. Collapsed posture whispers insecurity. Forced stiffness shouts insecurity. True confidence doesn't need armor. It stands relaxed with awareness. Even your relationship to space communicates volumes. Taking up too little space can signal fear of being seen. Taking up too much can signal disregard for others. Presence is about balance, enough to feel anchored, not enough to intrude. The most attractive energy always considers the comfort of others. Gestures flow naturally from your emotional rhythm. When your movements are congruent with what you feel, they support your words instead of distracting from them. Open palms and fluid gestures convey honesty and warmth. Sharp, jerky movements reveal tension. Forced stillness can feel cold. The key is awareness, not choreography. Movement born of authenticity, not imitation. And then there is energy. That invisible field everyone senses, but few can name. Your energy, your emotional tone, your attention, your groundedness affects the nervous systems of those around you. People subconsciously mirror what you project. If you're anxious, they tense. If you're calm, they breathe easier. Influence begins in your energy before it ever reaches your words. The path to mastering this begins inward. Meditation, deep breathing, physical awareness, and emotional regulation strengthen your internal signal. When your body and emotions are aligned, your presence becomes clean, clear, and contagious. Subtle influence isn't manipulation, it's awareness. It's learning to make others feel safe, valued, and at ease. Sometimes that means matching their pace and tone to build rapport. Sometimes it means offering a steadier energy for them to rise toward. Influence is not about control, it's about harmony. The art of reading others is equally essential. Observe how people's postures shift as they speak. Notice when energy contracts, a sign of discomfort, or expands, a sign of engagement. Notice how faces brighten at genuine curiosity, or how eyes dim at hidden judgment. When you tune your awareness to these details, conversations become symphonies of silent cues, and you become fluent in the language most people have forgotten to hear. The goal isn't perfection, it's coherence. When your words, body, and energy align with truth, when what you think, feel, and show are the same, you don't need to perform. You simply are. And that authenticity radiates influence stronger than any strategy. Because in the end, people don't remember what you said. They remember how they felt in your presence, whether your energy made them open or close. The rain had stopped just before sunset, leaving the streets slick with gold reflections. Adrian sat beneath the awning of a quiet cafe, watching people hurry past, couples laughing, friends talking, strangers scrolling through phones while waiting for someone else to look up. He took a slow sip of his drink and realized how different solitude felt now. Once, it had felt like a punishment. Tonight, it felt like peace. A message lit up his phone, a friend asking to meet. Adrian smiled softly before replying. He didn't rush, didn't overthink what to say, didn't calculate whether his response would make him seem too eager or too detached. He simply answered as himself. It struck him then that this simple act of being connected yet independent, open yet centered, was what freedom in relationships truly looked like. Because the deeper he'd grown into himself, the easier it became to connect with others. Chapter 10. Creating meaningful connections without neediness or desperation. The ability to form deep, genuine connections without losing your sense of self is one of the rarest and most magnetic qualities a person can possess. It's not about how many people you know or how many conversations you can start. It's about the energy you bring into every interaction. When that energy is grounded, abundant, and free from desperation, people feel it instantly. They're drawn to you, not because you need them, but because you don't. True connection thrives only in emotional freedom. Neediness, on the other hand, suffocates it. The psychology of neediness explains why. When you approach people from a place of emotional hunger, you're unconsciously communicating that you can't sustain your own sense of peace, joy, or self-worth without their attention or approval. That pressure, the unspoken expectation that someone else should complete what's missing in you, makes others retreat, even if they can't explain why. Neediness also clouds perception. When you're desperate to be liked or accepted, you stop truly seeing the other person. Every word they say is filtered through the question, do they like me, rather than, who are they, really? You stop relating, you start evaluating. And that turns what could have been an authentic exchange into a silent transaction of validation. To build meaningful connections without that energy, you must first cultivate secure attachment, the ability to feel safe and whole within yourself. This doesn't mean shutting people out or pretending you don't need anyone. It means becoming so emotionally balanced that your relationships are choices, not necessities. You connect because you want to share your fullness, not because you're trying to fill an emptiness. Emotional independence is born from self-trust, from knowing you can comfort yourself when hurt, regulate your emotions when disappointed, and create fulfillment in your life regardless of who stays or leaves. When your peace no longer depends on external validation, you approach others with what psychologists call generous curiosity. Generous curiosity changes everything. You stop asking, what can this person give me? And start asking, who is this person really? You listen not to impress, but to understand. You care not to get, but to give. This shift transforms you from a seeker of approval into a source of warmth and safety. However, emotional generosity is not the same as self-erasure. The ability to connect deeply requires differentiation, the skill of staying true to yourself even in closeness. Many people lose their individuality in relationships, adapting their likes, values, and opinions to maintain harmony. But that harmony is fragile because it's built on performance, not truth. Real connection happens when two whole individuals choose to meet, not when two incomplete people merge out of fear. Differentiation means holding your ground kindly. It means you can love someone and still disagree. You can stay close without becoming identical. You can say no without guilt because you understand that boundaries are not walls. They are the shape of your authenticity. To create deep connection, you must also embrace vulnerability. But healthy vulnerability isn't oversharing or seeking sympathy. It's the courage to be seen honestly, to reveal what you feel, think, and fear while still taking responsibility for your emotions. It's saying, this is me, not please fix me. Vulnerability allows people to meet you where you truly are. Pretending prevents that meeting from ever happening. Conflict, too, becomes part of connection when handled with maturity. Many people fear disagreement because they think it threatens love or belonging. But real relationships aren't built on sameness. They're strengthened by the grace with which differences are navigated. Learning to express your truth respectfully, to listen without defensiveness, and to seek understanding instead of victory transforms conflict into growth. This requires emotional regulation, the ability to stay centered even when tension rises. When others see that your calm isn't conditional on their behavior, trust deepens. You become the grounding presence in the storm. Another key to mature connection is realistic expectation. No person can fill every emotional need. Expecting constant validation, agreement, or reassurance only breeds resentment and disappointment. People are imperfect, beautifully, necessarily imperfect. Understanding that allows you to appreciate what they can offer without resenting what they can't. And perhaps the most powerful form of connection is the one created with no agenda. The moment you stop trying to impress, convince, or achieve an outcome, people can finally relax around you. Presence without agenda is magnetic because it's rare. It tells others, you're safe here. You don't have to perform. It means enjoying conversation without expectation, letting relationships unfold at their natural pace, being willing to meet someone just as they are without projecting what you hope they'll become. When you show up like that, curious, calm, and unattached, others feel free to show up fully too. The integration of these elements, emotional independence, generous curiosity, healthy differentiation, authentic vulnerability, skillful conflict, realistic expectations, and agenda-free presence, forms the foundation of magnetic connection. When you embody them, people feel better in your company, not because you give them something, but because being around you reminds them of who they can be. Such relationships become self-sustaining cycles of trust. Your steadiness creates safety, safety creates openness, openness creates intimacy, and intimacy deepens the bond. No manipulation, no games, no chasing. Just two souls meeting without pressure, without pretense, whole, aware, and free. Because the truth is, love, whether romantic, familial, or platonic, doesn't grow from need. It grows from abundance. The office cafeteria buzzed with casual chatter, laughter at one table, quiet debates at another, the soft clinking of cups echoing beneath low light. Adrian sat near the back, not because he was withdrawn, but because he had learned the power of observation before participation. Once, he would have tried to join every conversation, desperate to belong, forcing smiles and talking too much. But now, his silence wasn't distance, it was awareness. From where he sat, he could sense the room's invisible map, the center table where decisions quietly happened, though no titles were exchanged, the corner where quiet thinkers gravitated, and the subtle way certain people tilted their bodies toward one voice, a silent hierarchy of attention. Adrian noticed, too, how laughter spread unevenly, louder near one cluster, restrained near another, the rhythm of comfort and caution, revealing more than words ever could. He didn't need to speak to understand. He'd learned the art of reading the room. Chapter 11. Reading social dynamics and navigating complex group interactions. To read people is valuable. To read the room is power. The ability to quickly understand the invisible social architecture of a group, who leads, who influences, who harmonizes, who resists, is one of the most advanced and attractive forms of intelligence. Because when you can move through a group with awareness, you make everyone feel more understood, more at ease, and more alive. Every gathering has two conversations, the one people are having out loud and the one unfolding beneath the surface. Most people hear only the first. The emotionally intelligent learn to hear both. The surface level is the talk, words, jokes, updates. But beneath it flows something deeper, power, emotion, loyalty, attraction, unspoken discomforts, and quiet alliances. The person who senses those hidden patterns without forcing control becomes magnetic in any room, because people feel that they get it, even when nothing is said. This awareness begins with social situational awareness, stepping outside the noise of your own self-consciousness to notice the broader scene. Most people enter a room focused on performance. How am I doing? Do I fit in? Do they like me? But when your attention turns outward, what's really happening here? How is everyone feeling? What does this group need? Your social presence transforms. You stop being the performer. You become the conductor. Ask yourself, what's the overall energy of this group? Who sets the tone, formally and informally? Where are the silent tensions, the unspoken alliances, the person left on the edges hoping to be noticed? This awareness doesn't make you manipulative, it makes you wise. Understanding power dynamics is key. Every group has two forms of power, formal and informal. Formal power wears a title, informal power carries influence. The quiet strategist with few words might hold more sway than the one giving orders. Notice who people glance at before speaking, whose mood shifts the room, whose silence carries weight. That's the real leader. Once you recognize this, you can contribute more skillfully, aligning your energy where it creates the most harmony instead of friction. Reading emotional undercurrents is equally essential. You'll feel them before you can explain them. The slight heaviness when someone enters, the subtle lightness when tension breaks, the collective breath when laughter unites. Learn to sense not just what's said, but what's suppressed. Watch how posture changes when certain names come up, how tones flatten when disagreement brews. These are the micro moments that define social reality. Groups also operate through roles. In every circle, people naturally assume archetypes. The leader, the empath, the skeptic, the motivator, the quiet observer. Once you identify these, you can step into the role that's missing. If conflict rises, become the harmonizer. If leadership lacks clarity, become the steady voice of reason. If energy fades, become the spark. Social mastery isn't dominance, it's service. Strategic positioning means using your presence to uplift the collective energy. Sometimes that means leading. Sometimes it means following. Sometimes it means saying less and letting silence guide the flow. Mature social intelligence is flexible. It adapts moment by moment, serving what the situation actually needs, not what your ego demands. In diverse groups, cultural and communication sensitivity becomes the key to inclusion. What feels assertive in one culture may feel disrespectful in another. What feels humorous to one person may feel careless to someone else. Reading this nuance means you understand the emotional languages of others. You translate your authenticity into a dialect they can receive. To master social navigation, you must also learn tension diffusion. Conflict is inevitable, but escalation is optional. The ability to absorb tension without amplifying it, to acknowledge differences, introduce lightness, redirect toward common goals, is an advanced form of emotional leadership. Humor used with care can reset energy. Calm presence can realign the group. Silence, at the right moment, can restore equilibrium faster than any argument ever could. Every group also breathes in rhythms. Energy rises and falls. There are moments to speak, moments to listen, moments to close. Reading these rhythms, when people grow restless, when attention peaks, when emotional fatigue sets in, allows you to move with the group's natural flow rather than against it. When you do, your presence feels effortless, your timing impeccable, and your influence natural. The practice of reading and navigating social dynamics is not performance, it's perception. It's learning to see without staring, to feel without intruding, to influence without forcing. It requires patience, observation, and the humility to know that the group energy is always bigger than you. When you master this art, something subtle happens. People begin to trust you, not because you speak the most, but because you understand the most. They feel that you make interactions smoother, safer, more meaningful. You become the invisible gravity that holds the social constellation together. And that is the quiet mark of true influence. Not control, but harmony. The morning light spilled across Adrian's apartment, a quiet space that no longer echoed with restlessness, but hummed with purpose. The books on his shelf weren't decorations anymore. They were tools, each marked with folded pages and underlined lessons. His gym bag sat by the door, not because he forced himself to go, but because discipline had become routine. On the wall hung a list, not of achievements, but of questions. What am I learning right now? What am I avoiding? Who am I becoming through what I do daily? He smiled. Years ago, he chased attraction. Now, he understood it wasn't something to chase, it was something to embody. Chapter 12. Sustaining attractiveness through continuous growth and self-development. Attractiveness isn't a finish line. It's a rhythm, a constant evolution. The moment you stop growing, you stop radiating. The moment you start thinking you've arrived, you begin to fade. People often treat personal development like a temporary project. Build some confidence, learn a few social skills, maybe master a routine, and then coast. But like fitness, discipline, or art, attraction is sustained only through consistent growth. Not perfection, not endless reinvention, just steady evolution. The people who remain magnetic throughout their lives share one trait: they never stop expanding. You can feel it in their energy, the quiet spark of curiosity, the openness to learning, the humility that says, "I'm still becoming." That energy draws people in because it signals vitality, adaptability, and depth, qualities that never age. This truth isn't philosophical, it's psychological and biological. Throughout human history, those who kept growing were the ones who thrived. Evolution favored flexibility, the ability to adapt, learn, and change. That same principle governs social and emotional magnetism. Growth signals resilience, resourcefulness, and the confidence to evolve with life, not against it. But continuous growth isn't about collecting skills for status. It's about becoming more alive. When you're learning, exploring, and stretching your edges, your energy shifts. You become unpredictable in the best way, interesting, dynamic, and full of life. People can sense when your mind is awake and your spirit is engaged. That aliveness is magnetic. At the core of lifelong attractiveness is intrinsic motivation, the drive to grow, not for applause, but for alignment. When your desire to improve comes from inner curiosity rather than external validation, growth becomes sustainable. You don't need the world to notice your progress. The process itself becomes the reward. You start reading because knowledge excites you. You train your body not for admiration, but for vitality. You learn emotional regulation not to impress others, but because peace feels better than chaos. Every act of self-development becomes an act of self-respect. To stay attractive, you must keep learning. Not only through books or courses, but through life itself. Ask questions, explore new cultures, challenge your assumptions, let your perspective evolve. Intellectual curiosity keeps your mind young, and curiosity, more than charm or appearance, is what keeps people drawn to you. Learn across dimensions. Emotionally, by deepening your empathy and self-awareness. Physically, by maintaining health, energy, and resilience. Creatively, by exploring new forms of expression. Socially, by refining communication and presence. Spiritually, by seeking meaning beyond material validation. Physical maintenance isn't vanity, it's stewardship. Your body is the vessel through which your presence moves. Fitness, nutrition, sleep, and mindful rest are acts of alignment, not ego. The goal isn't perfection but vitality, to feel grounded, capable, and alive. The discipline that builds your body also shapes your mind. It's a feedback loop of strength. Emotional development, though less visible, is even more vital. The ability to stay calm under pressure, to recover from setbacks, to listen deeply, and to love without losing yourself. These are the quiet foundations of lasting attractiveness. Emotional maturity makes your presence safe and your company meaningful. Creativity, too, sustains magnetism. When you express, whether through music, writing, design, gardening, or cooking, you bring something original into the world. You become interesting because you create, not just consume. Creativity nourishes the soul and signals freedom, the freedom to explore, to play, to imagine. Social intelligence, once developed, must also be maintained. Conversation is a muscle. Listening is an art. Connection requires practice. Keep putting yourself in situations where you engage with people, not to impress, but to understand. Expand your empathy, learn new social rhythms, and refine your emotional fluency. And perhaps most importantly, make self-reflection a habit, not a crisis. Don't wait for breakdowns to reassess your life. Pause regularly. Ask yourself what's working, what's not, what feels stagnant, and what's calling for attention. These check-ins keep you aligned and honest. They prevent you from coasting into comfort and losing your edge. Challenge is the oxygen of growth. Set progressive goals, not just to prove yourself, but to expand what you're capable of. Seek the next meaningful difficulty. Whether it's learning a new language, starting a creative project, training for endurance, or deepening your relationships, your goals should stretch you just enough to keep you awake. Because the moment you stop being challenged, you stop evolving. The real secret to sustaining attractiveness is integration. Physical vitality, emotional balance, intellectual curiosity, creative expression, and self-reflection, all working together as a lifestyle. Growth becomes who you are, not something you occasionally do. And when growth becomes your natural state, you stop fearing decline. You stop clinging to validation or fearing irrelevance. You realize that the people who truly shine aren't those who have arrived. They're the ones still walking, still learning, still alive. Continuous evolution isn't exhausting, it's renewing. Because every time you outgrow an older version of yourself, you shed another layer of insecurity and move closer to authenticity. You don't become attractive by chasing perfection. You become magnetic by embodying momentum. The air outside was heavy with late-night silence, the kind that amplifies every small thought. Adrian sat on the park bench beneath a flickering lamppost, replaying the conversation that hadn't gone well. The woman he'd been seeing for weeks had ended things, gently but firmly. A year ago, he would have spiraled. Checked her social media, overanalyzed every word, convinced himself he wasn't enough. But tonight, he simply exhaled. He felt the ache, yes, the sting of loss, the echo of hope fading, but beneath it all, there was peace. He knew something now that his old self didn't. Rejection wasn't proof of unworthiness. It was redirection. He smiled faintly, pulled out his notebook and wrote, "I didn't lose her. I gained another layer of calm." Then he closed the book and walked home, steady, unbroken, quietly evolving. Chapter 13, Handling Rejection, Criticism, and Social Setbacks with Grace and Resilience. Few things reveal a person's emotional strength and deepen their true attractiveness, like how they handle rejection, criticism, and social setbacks. Because when everything goes smoothly, confidence is easy. But grace under disappointment, that's what defines maturity. Everyone, at some point, faces rejection, a relationship that ends, a friend who pulls away, an opportunity that slips through your hands. And yet, these moments are not punishments, they're reflections. They mirror how deeply your worth depends on external validation. They show whether your center is fragile or unshakable. Rejection feels painful because it touches something ancient in us. Long before modern society, being excluded from the tribe meant death. Our nervous systems still interpret rejection as danger, even when all that's really happening is a mismatch of timing, needs, or chemistry. The key is learning to separate the feeling of threat from the reality of the situation. Your body may react as if you've lost everything, but in truth, you've lost only one possibility among millions. The most attractive people, those grounded in quiet confidence, understand this deeply. They don't interpret rejection as failure. They interpret it as data. They ask, what does this teach me about alignment? About what's right for me? About what I truly value? They know that rejection is rarely personal. Often, it's about fit, not worth. The other person's emotional readiness, unresolved history, or personal goals may simply not match yours. When you internalize this, rejection becomes less of a wound and more of a filter, removing what isn't meant for your growth. This same mindset applies to criticism. Criticism is the mirror that reveals your ego's grip. When someone points out a flaw, real or perceived, your nervous system flares up to defend identity. But if you can pause, breathe, and listen, criticism becomes one of life's most underrated teachers. The emotionally intelligent don't rush to defend themselves. They extract what's useful, discard what's projection, and move on. They don't crumble under disapproval, nor do they lash out. Instead, they respond with curiosity. Is there any truth here I can use to improve? What is this feedback showing me about my blind spots or communication patterns? That mindset, open, steady, humble, makes you quietly powerful. Because people feel safe around those who don't react explosively. They know that with you, honesty won't start a war, and that safety builds trust faster than charm ever could. Of course, not all criticism deserves acceptance. Emotional maturity doesn't mean tolerating disrespect. It means listening without panic, filtering with wisdom, and protecting your peace. You decide which lessons to integrate and which noise to release. Then there are social setbacks, awkward moments, misunderstandings, or public mistakes that make most people retreat into shame. The truth? Everyone falls. Everyone says something regrettable, misreads a cue, or handles a situation poorly. The difference lies in what happens after. Attractive resilience isn't about perfection, it's about proportion. When you trip socially, don't dramatize it. Acknowledge, adjust, and continue. Offer a sincere apology if needed. Use humor to soften tension. But never let embarrassment convince you that you're broken. Social grace is not about avoiding mistakes, it's about recovering with ease. Psychologists call this ability cognitive flexibility, the capacity to reframe experiences constructively. Instead of thinking, "I failed," resilient people think, "I learned." They zoom out and see setbacks not as verdicts on their worth, but as exercises in adaptability. This flexibility keeps them emotionally light, fluid, and open, all highly magnetic traits. And beneath it all lies one essential practice: self-compassion. The way you treat yourself in moments of failure defines your emotional character. When you can meet your own mistakes with gentleness instead of self-attack, you radiate quiet strength. Self-compassion isn't indulgence, it's maintenance. It keeps you functional, open, and kind even when things hurt. It means saying to yourself, "Yes, that was painful. Yes, I wish it had gone differently. But this doesn't define me. I'm still growing." That inner dialogue becomes the emotional tone others feel when they're around you. Calm, forgiving, secure. Perspective is everything. One rejection doesn't mean you're undesirable. One criticism doesn't make you inadequate. One bad interaction doesn't erase your social value. Every moment, every encounter belongs to a much larger pattern of evolution. When you remember that, you stop clinging to outcomes and start embracing lessons. Resilient people bounce back, not because they're indifferent, but because they trust themselves to recover. That trust makes them fearless in connection. They're willing to risk embarrassment, to speak truthfully, to love openly, because they know they can handle what comes next. And that, more than any technique or charm, is what makes them profoundly attractive. Because people aren't drawn to those who never stumble. They're drawn to those who stumble and rise with grace, who remain kind in disappointment, who learn, adjust, and stay open. True magnetism isn't in perfection, it's in composure. It's in being the calm after the storm. The cafe was alive with gentle motion, the soft hum of conversation, the steady clatter of cups, and the amber light falling across worn wooden tables. Adrian leaned back in his chair, listening as his friends laughed around him. A year ago, he might have tried to dominate the room, to sound interesting, to impress, to make people notice him. But now he didn't need to. They noticed him anyway, not because he demanded attention, but because his calm made others feel at ease. When someone spoke, he listened, not waiting to reply, but to understand. When silence came, he didn't fill it, he allowed it. When someone shared something painful, he didn't fix it, he held space. The difference was invisible, but unmistakable. People sought him out now, not for entertainment, but for presence. Chapter 14, Becoming a Person Others Seek Out, the Principles of Social Magnetism. The highest level of social attractiveness isn't about beauty, status, or charm. It's about energy. It's the quiet magnetic pull of someone who makes others feel lighter, safer, more inspired, more alive. People don't crave perfection. They crave peace, warmth, and sincerity. And when you embody those qualities, you become someone others naturally seek out. You stop chasing connection, and connection begins chasing you. At the foundation of this magnetism is what psychologists call positive emotional contagion, the phenomenon where emotions ripple outward and influence everyone nearby. Humans mirror the emotional states of those around them, which means that when you cultivate calm confidence, grounded joy, and sincere curiosity, you become an anchor in a world that's constantly anxious. People are drawn to you because your presence feels like exhale, a break from noise, pressure, and performance. You don't force positivity, you generate it, quietly, from real well-being. This is why the most magnetic people aren't those who fake happiness. They're those who've learned to regulate their inner world. They don't deny sadness, but they don't drown in it either. They process it, integrate it, and return to the world with composure. Their balance becomes a refuge for everyone they meet. The second principle is unconditional positive regard, the ability to see and value people as they are, not as tools, not as means to your goals, but as living stories worthy of respect. When you can meet someone's humanity without judgment, you give them a gift rarer than praise: acceptance. You don't need to approve of everything they do, but when your presence says, "You're safe to be yourself here," you open doors in others that have been shut for years. People are drawn to that, to spaces where they can drop their armor and still feel worthy. The third principle is social generosity. Socially magnetic people give. not in grand gestures, but in subtle, consistent ways. Attention, encouragement, introductions, appreciation. They share what they know, celebrate others' wins, and bring energy that uplifts the atmosphere. They give without keeping score, and that creates a gravitational pull. Because generosity builds invisible credit, not transactional, but emotional. You become associated with good energy, reliability, and value, and people naturally want more of what you bring. The fourth principle is intellectual and emotional stimulation. Magnetic individuals don't just make you feel good, they make you think and feel deeply. They carry stories, insights, and questions that expand your mind. They live curiously, constantly learning about psychology, art, travel, philosophy, or simply the human condition. It's not brilliance that draws others, it's curiosity, the willingness to engage the world with wonder. Emotionally, they also go beyond small talk. They're unafraid of depth, of talking about meaning, purpose, love, loss, or the quiet fears that shape us. Conversations with them feel like oxygen, refreshing, intimate, and real. Then comes social leadership. It's not authority, it's influence through care. Social leaders are the ones who naturally guide the energy of a group. They read the room, sense tension before it breaks, bridge gaps between personalities, and create shared laughter when silence grows too heavy. They're not loud, they're aware. They understand that leadership in social spaces isn't about control, but contribution. It's about being the one who subtly ensures everyone feels included, valued, and heard. The fifth principle, authenticity and emotional transparency, ties it all together. Magnetic people are real. They can be strong without pretending to be invincible. They can be joyful without suppressing truth. Their vulnerability isn't confession, it's connection. They show that you can be flawed and still whole, uncertain and still confident, open and still self-assured. Authenticity doesn't mean oversharing. It means congruence. What you say matches what you feel. What you offer matches who you are. And people sense it, because realness is louder than polish. Finally, all of this operates through social intelligence in action. You read the emotional tone of a room the way a musician reads rhythm. You adjust, not to please, but to harmonize. You speak less when listening creates space. You lighten energy when tension builds. You connect across differences by understanding communication styles. You don't just exist in social spaces. You orchestrate them, quietly, gracefully, invisibly. When these 7 principles combine, positive emotional presence, unconditional acceptance, generosity, stimulation, leadership, authenticity, and intelligence, something rare happens. You stop being someone people notice and start being someone people remember. They think of you when they need perspective. They reach for your name when planning meaningful gatherings. They feel calmer after a single conversation. Your presence becomes a quiet force that makes the world around you softer, clearer, better. And that is the essence of social magnetism, not drawing people toward you to fill your emptiness, but radiating wholeness so that others remember their own. When you live like that, you never have to chase attention again, because your energy speaks before you do. It was dawn when Adrian returned to the place where his journey had unknowingly begun. The quiet park bench beneath the same flickering lamppost that once held the weight of his loneliness. Only now, the light no longer trembled. Maybe it was the same lamp, maybe it wasn't. It didn't matter. What mattered was the stillness within him, the kind of peace that comes not from having everything, but from no longer needing everything. A jogger passed, a couple laughed softly near the fountain, and Adrian smiled. Not the smile of someone performing calmness, but the smile of someone who had become calm. Every habit, every reflection, every quiet failure had brought him here. He no longer thought about being confident. He was. He no longer practiced presence. He embodied it. He didn't need to try to be magnetic. People simply responded to the harmony he carried. Chapter 15, Integration and Mastery, Becoming Naturally Attractive Through Authentic Self-Development. The true journey of attraction ends where authenticity begins. The transformation from trying to be attractive to naturally being attractive is not a matter of adding new tricks or techniques. It's a shedding, a return to the version of you that is free, centered, honest, and quietly powerful. At first, attraction seems like a skill to master. You learn posture, presence, communication. You practice composure, emotional regulation, confidence. But at some point, effort transforms into essence. What was once deliberate becomes instinctive. What was once practiced becomes who you are. This is integration. It's when confidence no longer feels like armor, it feels like peace. When charisma no longer feels like performance, it feels like truth. When every principle you've learned, awareness, restraint, empathy, presence, fuses into a single way of being, authentic self-expression. To reach this point, you must know yourself deeply. Your values, your rhythms, your triggers, and your gifts. The more clearly you understand your internal world, the more coherence your external world reflects. People can sense when a person's words, emotions, and actions are aligned. That coherence, rare, grounded, and real, is what makes authenticity magnetic. Authentic self-expression takes courage. It means showing your true thoughts respectfully, even when they're unpopular. It means saying no when it would be easier to say yes. It means living by principles, not performance. Every time you act from authenticity, you reinforce your strength. Every time you betray it, you feel that quiet fracture, the one that reminds you that false acceptance never feels as good as genuine alignment. With time, these practices become effortless excellence, skills so deeply embodied that you no longer think about them. You are them. Emotional regulation becomes natural composure. Social intelligence becomes intuitive connection. Confidence becomes the air you breathe. This is the maturity of self-mastery, to act rightly without trying hard to remember how. The greatest shift, though, is from external validation to internal satisfaction. When your worth no longer depends on approval, you become free. Free to listen without defending, to speak without posturing, to give without expecting. You start drawing strength from within, from your progress, your integrity, your alignment. And that kind of independence is irresistible, because true attractiveness isn't in needing others to notice you. It's in not needing them to, and yet being noticed anyway. When validation ceases to be your fuel, contribution becomes your compass. You stop asking, "How can I impress?" and start asking, "How can I elevate?" You begin to live for something larger: growth, kindness, mastery, depth. And paradoxically, that shift from self-focus to service creates the deepest magnetism of all. People feel safe around someone whose strength uplifts rather than competes. They feel inspired by someone whose presence doesn't demand, it gives. This is the heart of service-oriented magnetism. Not servitude, but contribution. You develop yourself so fully that your very existence adds value to every room you enter. You listen better, think clearer, feel deeper. You create space for others to rise, and in doing so, you rise too. At this level, you no longer chase connection, you cultivate it. You no longer seek belonging, you radiate it. You no longer strive to be seen, you see. And that is the final paradox of silent attraction. The less you try to be impressive, the more impressive you become. This mastery doesn't end. It's not a summit, but a spiral, a lifelong ascent. The most magnetic people never claim completion. They remain open, curious, alive. They are students of life forever, evolving quietly while the world wonders how they never seem to lose their glow. Integration means your growth becomes continuous and your authenticity becomes unbreakable. It's the merging of stillness and strength, reflection and action, self-awareness and compassion. You don't need to prove your worth because your existence already expresses it. You no longer do attraction. You are attraction. It lives in your tone, your choices, your silence. It speaks through your calm, your kindness, your focus. It hums beneath your words, the quiet energy of someone who has returned to their natural state, whole, unforced, alive. And so, the journey ends where it began, not with applause or revelation, but with stillness. The quiet power of knowing who you are and no longer needing to convince anyone else. Because the truth is simple, always has been. When you stop performing for the world finally sees you. When the final words fade and the silence returns, what remains is not the memory of a voice, but a feeling. The quiet realization that the person you've been searching for was never out there. It was always the one you were becoming. This journey, how to be silently attractive, was never about tricks, image, or manipulation. It was about mastery of presence, about learning to move through the world with calm power, grounded confidence, and an energy that speaks louder than words ever could. You've seen what happens when you stop chasing validation and start building value. You've felt the shift that comes when you stop performing and start being. And maybe, like Adrian, You now understand. Silent attraction isn't something you perform for others. It's something you return to within yourself. Every chapter, every reflection, every pause in this audiobook has been designed to bring you closer to that truth. That the most magnetic people in the world aren't loud or flashy or perfect. They are simply aligned. Aligned with their values, their emotions, their integrity, and their purpose. And that alignment, that inner coherence, is what people feel when you walk into a room. It's the calm that steadies others, the confidence that doesn't need to prove, the quiet warmth that draws people in without demand. That's what it means to be silently attractive, because real attraction has never been about noise. It's about resonance, the silent echo of authenticity that lingers long after words are gone. If these words have moved something in you, if they've helped you see confidence, connection, and attraction through a deeper lens, stay close to this path. Follow Book Sounds Better You, where we continue exploring audiobooks that don't just change how you think, but how you become. Keep growing, keep refining, keep building that quiet power that doesn't need to announce itself. Because the world doesn't need louder people, it needs centered ones. And when you live with that kind of stillness, you don't have to seek attention, it seeks you. This is How to Be Silently Attractive, written for those who are ready to stop performing, start evolving, and let their presence speak. You've completed the journey. Now live it, quietly, powerfully, and fully.